In 2018, our family of four started to very slowly change how we shopped, consumed, and how many physical belongings we owned. Since then, our life has completely flipped upside down. In today's video, I'm sharing how we stopped consuming, how having fewer belongings impacted nearly every aspect of our lives, and what we learned along the way. As you're watching this video, please remember that I am not a financial expert. This is simply our family's experience with consuming and shopping and the huge impact it's had on our lives. Our journey to stop shopping has 6 distinct phases. Although we didn't know this was the beginning of a complete life transformation, I would say the first step was essentially just accepting that something was wrong. We were highly stressed. We were almost $80,000 in debt plus a huge brand new mortgage. We had no time to enjoy what we did own, let alone enjoy life in general. And we didn't have a solid plan for the future. I just kept looking around thinking, this can't be all there is. And if it is, I reject it. At this point, we were newly married and new parents. And up until this point, we were really just going along with the flow, buying what everyone else bought. We went shopping for date nights. We had just purchased a larger home, which we were filling with every single corner with furniture. We were basically just trying to keep up with what we figured we wanted, lots of stuff, and what everyone else had. Facing the fact that the way we were moving through life wasn't the right fit for us might sound small, but when it's something you've been subconsciously avoiding for years, it can be pretty dramatic and intense and hard, but also liberating and freeing and exciting. During this phase, my husband and I had some pretty tough conversations. Talking about money and potentially big changes that might be uncomfortable should not be underestimated, because so often this is where change starts. And in our case, this is what kickstarted the practical, actionable changes, which started next. In phase 2, we simply created a better budget. I've always had a budget and we followed it roughly, but it wasn't getting us anywhere close to the life we wanted. A life where we weren't constantly stressed for money or stretched for time. This new budget included 3 small but impactful changes. We combined our money, we started doing monthly budget meetings, and we started using cash almost exclusively. I know combining money is a pretty controversial topic and it's not for everyone, but working as a team was a game changer. Seeing the impact we could have with 2 incomes was just mind-blowing for me, and being on the same page reduced so much stress. Doing the monthly budget meetings forced us to regularly face and discuss a million uncomfortable decisions. And getting good at this was a skill I never even knew we needed. And using cash for everything that wasn't a necessity was another major shift for us. At the start of each month, we would take out the amount of cash we needed for food, for haircuts, for shoes for the kids, anything that we might need. And as soon as the cash was gone, we were done. That meant that if we wanted to go for ice cream, but the money was already gone for the month, we would just have to wait until next month. It sounds dramatic, but it works. Using cash can be so inconvenient. It's annoying to go to the bank to get it. It's annoying to keep track of it. It's annoying that I can't use self-checkout. It makes it annoying to shop online. But that's exactly the point. Before we started using cash, sometimes we would stay on budget, sometimes we wouldn't. Now we had no choice. And this is something we still do today, 8 years later. And it's still annoying today, which is exactly why it works. In a lot of ways, these budgeting tweaks helped us in a practical sense. So we knew where our money should go, we knew how much we had to spend, but I think it was the mental tweaks that really impacted our future. It finally felt like there was a chance at a lighter, happier, less stressful future. A chance that maybe we could leave this world a teeny tiny bit better than when we got here. But we knew a lot more had to change for that to become a reality. So next, we took things a step further. The third step is where things changed the most dramatically in the shortest period of time. This was when we did our very first spending freeze. For 30 days, we paid only our bills and bought only essentials. Before this point, I didn't even consider myself a big shopper. We bought what felt completely average for our sort of friend and family group. I feel like I stayed somewhat within budget and I loved getting things on sale. Honestly, I just didn't think much about it at all, which I realized was the problem. What this spending freeze showed me was that mindless consumption easily leads to over-consuming without us even noticing it. In those 30 days, we learned just how huge an impact we can have on our bank account and our stress and the state of our home by doing the simplest thing possible, not buying something. It was like a slap in the face to wake us up from all the small but damaging shopping habits that we've been doing for years. After we finished our shopping freeze, our spending habits were changed forever. What I began to notice next, however, was that even after slowing down our shopping, it still felt like we were surrounded in clutter. There was so much stuff to manage every single day. It was exhausting. I just kept thinking, where is all this stuff coming from? So I decided to get to the bottom of it. This was our next phase where I tracked our income for an entire month. One of the most common things we hear from clients is that even when they feel like they are decluttering and getting rid of things and purging, it still feels like there's so much coming in. And we were no different. During this month, we learned another great lesson. We learned that even when it felt like we were being minimalist or frugal, that still meant items coming in regularly. It was during this step that I had one of my biggest mindset shifts. I started to view every single item that came into our house as something that made our lives better or made it harder or worse or more work. For example, would buying this new winter coat for Leo because it's just so dang cute make my life better because now he had a second winter coat? Or would it just mean our front hall closet is now more jam-packed and therefore harder to keep organized? And we now had to decide every single morning which of the 2 winter coats he was gonna wear. And then when he grows out of them, I now have to find home for 2 jackets instead of 1. And we have $40 less than we did yesterday. The standard for what we allowed into our house became so high, which naturally meant that there was less coming in. So at this stage, we had now slowed our incoming so much that we had both transformed our finances and transformed the state of our home by owning less. Each month and each year that went by, I could feel myself getting lighter and I could feel Scott and I laughing more and feeling less bogged down. However, while I was feeling more free, there was part of the journey that was feeling a little less than ideal. And this was the fact that I just felt like I didn't fit in anymore. For me, this was a pretty big part of the process. Not only did I feel different from the people around me, but I felt different from the old me. Changing decade-long habits can be tricky and honestly kind of exhausting. But whenever I felt out of place with my friends or with myself, I would ask myself this one question. Was this new version of me, was that the extreme, weird, minimalist version? Or was spending hundreds of dollars every single month on items that I truly didn't care about, was that the extreme, weird version? And almost every time the answer reminded me that the new way was the way I wanted to live. Once I felt like I was ready to just be me, I took it one step further and I did our first ever Buy Nothing New Year. In January 2022, we decided to try a Buy Nothing New Year where we bought only used items other than consumables for 365 days. The plan was to reduce waste, save money, and slow down clutter coming into our house. This phase taught us many things, but the biggest lesson was the lesson of time. And specifically, how much time we saved by not shopping. Within a few months, it became crystal clear how much time we spend discussing what to buy, researching the options, deciding exactly which one we want, driving to pick up the item, working to pay for the item, deciding where to store the item, and tidying them up. And by taking a break from all of that, we gained back hours, days, weeks of our life. This leads us to our 6th and final phase, which was finding new ways to enjoy life that didn't include buying new things. I feel like oftentimes the whole minimalist lifestyle comes off as so chill that it's basically boring. And in my experience, that is the furthest thing from the truth. It turns out that there is an amazing life outside of shopping and consuming. We spend way more time outside. We have provincial parks all over our area. We skate outside in the winter. We bike in the summer. There are so many free community events in our area that I can't even keep up with them all. We go to our public library nearly every week. It's so much more than just books. And I'm in my 40s now, which means that the main social activity with my friends is going for walks together, which is perfect. In my experience, less shopping and more living is 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. And if buying and owning less is something that you have been craving lately, it is absolutely, positively possible. A big piece to remember here is that in conjunction with slowing the consumption, we were also slowly but drastically decluttering the items we already owned. If you are working on decluttering, I have a brand new free resource to help you declutter faster and with less stress. The link is at the very top of the description box below. And if you want to hear more about our decluttering journey, you can watch that video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.